What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to the Crypto Catch Up. Of course, your number one place to catch up on crypto. Now, I have 5 major reasons as to why I am starting to accumulate some Bitcoin right now, and why I do think that this is now entering into becoming a good time to buy crypto. Of course, I've been a little bit on the fence quite recently, not particularly thinking it was a good time, not particularly thinking it was a bad time, just kind of on the fence, but now I'm leaning towards it being a good time, and that's my goal today, is to explain to you why. So, of course, with that in mind, let's catch up on some crypto. Now, reason number 1 is what we are seeing here on the technicals. Okay, let's focus a little bit on the TA here. You guys know I don't do a ton of TA here on this channel. I focus that on my main channel, but let's go over it a little bit. Now, what I am seeing from Bitcoin as we speak currently is that its price is now sitting around this 50% threshold of this descending wedge, in which we've been in since March of 2024. Of course, it's been boring, it's been annoying, no one really likes it, but it's the name of the game. And what I do know is that as Bitcoin's price historically does get towards the bottom half of this structure, the likelihood is that this is a good time to buy. Not only just based off of historical events, right? Every single time we've gotten towards the bottom half of this has been a good time to buy, but also just knowing there's between a 70 to 90% chance that Bitcoin's price will eventually break to the top side of the structure. And so knowing that, of course, getting the best buying opportunity possible here is, as of course, the goal. And of course, you know, again, this is just in general a good time to buy. The bottom side of descending structure in the macro, when you have a very high likelihood of eventually breaking to the upside of it. So of course you would want to buy towards the lower half. Now, on top of that, if we do zoom in a little bit more, what we can see is that Bitcoin is now going to start venturing down towards some key breakout levels. Of course, what you can see here is that Bitcoin put in this move to the downside, came back up, and it started entering into this ascending structure. Ascending structure, the opposite of descending structure, usually will break to the downside. It's just what it does. It's like 80 to 90% chance it just breaks towards the downside. And as that happens, and as we do get breaks to the downside of this nature, what you can expect is for a crypto, especially Bitcoin, but crypto in general's price, to come back down and revisit those levels in which it used to build support on top of that ascending level. So say, for example, we put in support on the line here, put in support there, and there. These all are going to be your breakdown targets. These are the levels in which you can expect the price to come down to try to find a higher low, establish some support, and continue back upwards. This is the general structure that ascending structures create. You go down, you come back up, ascending structure, come back down, try to find some support, use it, continue back towards the top side. That's typically how this goes. And that is, from a price perspective, what I am expecting from this. Now, knowing that, of course, what my game plan is currently is that at this current price, while we are trying to build some support right here, I am buying a little bit of Bitcoin. If we go lower to say 57, I'm buying more. 56, I'm buying more. 54, I'm buying more. 53.5, I'm buying more. And I do plan on continuing to purchase the lower that we get within this descending wedge on the macro sense, because again, the likelihood of a bounce towards the upside gets higher and higher and higher. So from a technical perspective, we're finally now at a spot where we can start trying to find that support, start trying to find a foundation to continue higher. And so of course I am going to start continuing to do my purchasing as of now. So from a technical perspective, it's super easy, super simple. Now, guys, don't forget, if you do want to buy and trade some Bitcoin yourself, use the Margex link down in the description below. Guys, listen, you don't need to KYC, meaning you don't need to tell them who you are. You also don't need a VPN to access the server. So with that in mind, of course, you can go ahead, you can start trading within just a few minutes. You're going to get up to $10,000 in bonuses when you sign up. And they just recently announced a $500,000 KASPA airdrop for those of you who do start trading on the platform. So go take advantage of that bonus. Go take advantage of this KASPA airdrop. You don't need to KYC, you don't need to use a VPN. So go check that out down in the description below. But let's move on to our fundamental reasons as to why we are purchasing some Bitcoin here on the channel. Now, first and foremost, real easy, real simple, one you're going to understand easily, is quite simply just the fact that we are still sat within a fear zone, and I don't think it's valid. Okay, we have been sitting within mass fear within this market for months now, basically. I mean, obviously we have a few moments where, you know, July, a little bit here in August, we've gone up into neutral or greedy, but realistically we spent almost, I would say, if we go look at the year, we've probably spent about 40 days of the last 70 days in fear, and I just don't think it's justified, personally. I don't think where we are now in the world of crypto is any scarier than we were a few months ago. I personally just don't, right? Obviously, I know that people are expecting a recession. Obviously, I know those things are happening, but whenever you look at it from a grand scheme of things, the economy's not getting worse right now. realistically. Like, things are not getting worse than they were a couple months ago. The war situation seemed to be getting somewhat better, but that's not my field of study, so I'm not going to speak too much on that. But just in general, things are heating up in a bit of a better direction. Obviously, we have presidential elections, which can create uncertainty, but realistically, at the end of the day, there's not even a ton of uncertainty in the world of crypto for us. It's either going to stay the same or get better, right? Staying the same in the sense that if we do see the Democratic Party win the presidential election, likelihood is things for crypto probably going to be about the same for the next few years. If Donald Trump wins the election, we're probably going to see crypto get better. It's not scary, right? The same or better is not a scary situation, right? And so to me, I don't think this is valid. I think it's unjustified. I think people are being over emotional. And because of that, I will buy while we are in fear. Okay. That's thing number one. Now, next thing up, RSI heat map. We are now back to a spot in which we are nearly seeing the RSI sat within the weak zone. Of course, what you can see here is that your average RSI across your top 100 cryptos is below neutral, in between weak, currently sat at a 43 on the dailies. If we do go out to the weeklies, it's also sat around at 42.79, getting closer and closer to the weak zone. And as you can see, Bitcoin is also below the neutral zone here on the weeklies, which just historically, when your RSI is getting to weak or oversold territory, it's a decent time to be picking up. So of course, that is reason number 3 as to why I am buying some Bitcoin. Going up to the very next reason here, let me get this going, is your visual screener, wherever that is. Oh, here we go, right under it. Okay, visual screener, 24 hours on the more daily charts. People are closing their long trades, they're closing their short trades. We are seeing a good bit of that happening, especially for Bitcoin right now. Now it's a little bit more balanced, right? Some people are closing shorts and opening longs, but more people are closing longs and opening shorts. And clearly, when something like that happens, it puts me in a situation and in a position in which, hey, if you guys all think that this market is going to keep going down, then I'm going to start accumulating. I'm going to start scooping up some Bitcoin. I'm going to start scooping up some crypto as the market does possibly go down, because the likelihood is you guys are going to get liquidated at some point. I mean, if we do go out to liquidations and see what's happening here on the 7-day, you can really start to see a difference. Look at how many liquidations would happen if this market goes up. And knowing something like that is happening and knowing we have an imbalance of this nature, the likelihood of this market pushing up into this range is, $63, $64, $65,000 to liquidate all these traders. Very high. It's a very high opportunity and possibility, and it's not that far, right? I mean, all that would take is Bitcoin to do something that literally looks like this and liquidates all those people. If you don't think that can happen, you're crazy, right? And so, of course, that's reason number, I think that, yeah, number 4 for us currently as to why we are currently buying some Bitcoin here on the channel. People are closing in on those long trades. They're opening short trades. Liquidations are going up. They're expecting that this market's going to go down. I like to buy against the grain. And then the very last reason that I did start to pick up a little bit more Bitcoin is because of what we are seeing on the Bitcoin exchange balance. What you can see here is we just recently saw a real big dip, okay? A real big dip right here in Bitcoin exchange balance. And the reason that's important is because people are moving their Bitcoin off of exchanges. And so, of course, when you move it off of an exchange, it doesn't really seem like you have intentions to sell it. And typically, it means that there's more stability. There's a lot less circulating Bitcoin. The supply shock gets a little bit higher. And then obviously, it puts us in a perspective in which, the price of Bitcoin historically performs better. And what you can see here is that if we quite simply just look at this, you can see in these moments, let's go really far out actually. In these moments in which we see these dips, that's when the market's doing better, right? You see these dips, market goes up. You see this dip, market goes up. You see this dip, market goes up. You see this dip, market goes up. You see this dip. Maybe market goes up. Who knows? I don't know. But that is reason number 5 as to why I am picking up more and more Bitcoin, because the lower the Bitcoin exchange balance gets, the bigger the supply shock, the more likely it is that the price of Bitcoin does climb to the upside. So when I see all of these things happening, it makes me think, why would I not be buying right now? Of course, I bought some Bitcoin at 17K. I bought some Bitcoin at 20K. My average cost on Bitcoin is currently about $31,000. But I still do think that this is a decent time to be buying. I still do think that there's a good opportunity to still get a 1.75, 2x, something like that on my Bitcoin purchases. And so, of course, knowing we are still in Bitcoin season, knowing Bitcoin's still in the lead, I still think it's a great time to be buying, and that's what I'm doing. Now, I will make it clear, there is still an opportunity for this market to pull to the downside. As I mentioned to you before when we were going over the TA, Bitcoin's price itself could just do this, right? It could start coming down in these support levels. We could see it hit $54,000. Things get real ugly, we could see it hit $51,000. That is still possible, and I'm aware of that. And that's why I'm telling you, I'm not doing a lot of buying right now. I'm just starting to load up slowly and surely by a little bit here, maybe Maybe I'll buy a little bit more if we stay here, buy a little bit more if we go lower, or maybe more if we go lower, maybe a lot more if we hit lower. You get what I'm saying? It's not forcing it. I'm not putting all my cash in right now. I'm just slowly letting this cook, okay? And so, of course, with that in mind, you guys know throughout the week what we like to do, go over Bitcoin, the metrics, the technicals, and all of that good stuff. We've been sprinkling in some altcoin content recently. Let me know how you guys feel about that. We talked about Solana. We talked about JASMY. You got some live streams coming out next week. So let me know if you guys enjoy the content. How can we fix it? And at the end of the day, this channel is only 1 month old. And so if you guys do enjoy the content, we have a goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers by October, and it seems like we're on track to do it. So if you guys could continue to smash that subscribe button if you are new here, I would absolutely appreciate it. Liking and commenting on this video also helps an absolute ton. So thank you for those of you who do that every single time, and I can't wait to see you all in the next catch up. Peace out, everybody.